Good afternoon everybody and welcome to another video from Tour Travels. Today I want to talk about firstly some other things associated with surviving in Russia as a tourist. So guys, you remember I told you in a previous video about carrying your cash around with you and security in Russia. I was mentioning you should get some kind of bag, like I've got some shoulder bag to store your cash in. Well, yeah, it was 2 days ago and I was in KFC. I had a craving for a burger, so I went into KFC and I ordered 2 chef burgers, and I was halfway through the second chef burger, then I realized, oh my god, I don't have my shoulder bag. So guys, everything was inside my shoulder bag, like all my cash and both of my passports. So yeah, it's a classic tale of not putting all your eggs in one basket. So everybody, I thought I was absolutely safe with my shoulder bag like on previous visits to Russia. But there's something in Russia where when you go into cafes, restaurants and things like that, often you're required to leave your jacket in a cloakroom or on a wardrobe. So yeah, I got in a situation when I was in Viborg. I went to that Viborg Castle Museum and I walked in and I paid my money. And there's a cloakroom and they said, oh, give us your jacket. I said, no thanks. And they said, it's obligatory, you have to give us your jacket. And I said, it's my jacket, why should I give it to you? You know, but in the end, I gave them my jacket. Now guys, the reasons for me not liking to give my jacket to people in cloakrooms, number one, it's because it's my jacket, why should I give my jacket to you? Number two, they could steal something from your pockets. Number three, somebody could take your jacket by mistake. Or number four, and this has happened to me before when I was in Ukraine, if you lose your token, you might have a problem getting your jacket back, or you have to pay for that lost token for the jacket you didn't want to leave there anyway. So yeah everybody, this happened to me in Ukraine one time. I went into this restaurant and I was forced to leave my jacket, and I got my token, sat down, had my food and everything. And then I realized my token had disappeared, and there's no way I could have lost it. You know, it was on the table. So I think that when I went to the toilet, one of the restaurant staff took it deliberately. And then, of course, when I went to get my jacket, they told me I had to pay a fine, and it was a ridiculous amount. So anyway, guys, I left my shoulder bag in this hipster coffee place called Skuratov Coffee, and it's the best coffee I had in Russia. And it's like a very kind of trendy place, you know, minimalist, nice furnishings and stuff like that. And when I realized I left my bag in this place, to be honest, I wasn't panicked as much as I could have been if I left it in McDonald's or something, because I know in Russia there's cameras absolutely everywhere. So I knew that nobody was going to take my bag. I thought, okay, maybe they didn't steal my bag, but they could have like somehow taken the cash out of it. So guys, that's one of the minuses for me spending time in Russia, the fact that there's cameras absolutely everywhere on pretty much every building. And the owners of these buildings that have the cameras that are pointing onto the streets must submit these recordings to the police upon request. So they have to make sure these cameras are running all the time. Anyway guys, let's not pretend that Russia's unique in this regard, because UK was way ahead of Russia a long time ago with security cameras. So yeah, that's something they picked up from the Brits. So guys, there's no doubt that having all these cameras around the country is good for security, but yeah, in terms of personal privacy, that's quite another story. We can see behind me there's another big one. So yeah everybody, I was very, very lucky on this occasion. Like I said, it's not the kind of place anybody would steal anything from. They got cameras all over the place inside that cafe, and it's, you know, it's a fancy place where nobody would want to be caught stealing anything. So yeah everybody, I was very, very lucky to get my bag back. I went back to the cafe and it was exactly where I left it. Nobody gone anywhere near it. So yeah, the surveillance state has saved me on this occasion. So guys, I wanted to go back to talking about things associated with spending time in Russia, like payments. Let's go back to talking about payments, because I said in a previous video that Russia is pretty much a cashless society now. Well, it's not exactly true. Now, everybody, I recommend you carry at least a bit of cash around with you in Russia, because some places they don't like to accept card payments. An example of these places are backstreet stores. So a lot of these stores are operated by usually people from the Caucasus countries, almost exclusively, in fact. And of course, you know, they like paying taxes, so they don't like card payments. So quite a lot of the time it's cash only. So another place that doesn't like card payments are stolovias, which are Russian buffet restaurants, which are all over the place. So generally speaking, a lot of these places prefer cash, or there's something else that people use in Russia, and it's QR codes. So it's basically a bank transfer directly from your bank to the business's bank, and this is a way for them to avoid fees, because if you pay by card, then there's obviously a charge associated with that transaction. So this is bloody annoying, to be honest. Imagine that you turn up at a Stolovia restaurant to have some breakfast or something, and you don't have cash. You've got your card, and then they ask you to pay by this QR code. So you have to get out your app on your phone and scan this QR code from your phone, but sometimes it doesn't work. So this happened to me a couple of days ago. I was in the Stolovia restaurant. I didn't have any cash. I just had my card and the app on my phone. And I tried to pay with this stupid bloody QR code thing, and it didn't work at all. So I had to leave my food there and leave. So guys, this payment system for me in Russia is pretty annoying, but you know, it is what it is. I suppose if you're living here, it's much easier. You get used to it, but especially for me as a cash guy, I like to travel with cash. I don't like to let people see what I'm spending my money on. So guys, I recommend like splitting up the risk when you're staying in Russia. Maybe carry your cash in your bag and leave your passports in your apartment or hotel. The biggest risk, I suppose, is from cleaners, especially in hotels. You know, you'd never leave cash lying around. And the safes, as I said before, they're not always trustworthy either. A lot of the time they've got a back door. Yeah, everybody, so don't get yourself into a situation like me where you've got everything in one bag, and if you lose it, it's a disaster. So yeah, everybody, next I wanted to talk about registration in Russia, and just thinking about it is giving me butterflies in my stomach now, because I've been deported in the past for some registration mishap. All right, everybody, so this is how registration goes. Every property that you stay at in Russia, you have to be registered at. So, you know, when you come into the country, maybe you're going straight to a hotel. So you go to a hotel, pay your money, then they'll do your registration. Now, there's some hotels that don't like to do registration for foreigners, but I haven't found one of those recently, thankfully. Now, the annoying thing is that you have to pay for this registration as well. So it's every place I've been to, it's 250 rubles, so maybe that's a set rate, I'm not sure. But anyway, so they put all your details. They have some kind of computer system, some bureaucratic crap, and they put all your details in there. Then after maybe 10 or 15 minutes battering away on a keyboard, you get a piece of paper for your 250 rubles. Now, the annoying thing is that if you change property, you've got to be registered again. So maybe you've arrived in the country, you just want to stay in some hotel for the night, then the next day look for something else. You have to pay 250 rubles for that night, and then next place you have to pay another 250 rubles. So it makes sense to stay in one property for as long as possible, so you don't have to keep on paying this 250 rubles. So yeah, don't try not to move hotels too much. Yeah, everybody, a lot of people when they come to Russia, they prefer to stay in hotels instead of apartments. The reason for that, one of the main reasons, is registration issues, because it's much easier just to turn up to a hotel. The receptionist is always there, and you can just say, right, sort out my registration. But what happens if you book an apartment, and then sometime between you booking and you turning up, he realizes that you're a foreigner, and he doesn't want you to stay in his apartment. And the reason for that is there's a lot of bureaucracy he has to go through with this registration. So yeah, you could be left up shit creek. Yeah, so for those of you that saw my Murmansk video a while ago, there was some hotel there that I wasn't allowed to stay at because I was a foreigner. So yeah, everybody, Russia have been talking about modernizing this stupid registration system for years, but nothing seems to have happened yet. Now, in previous times when I was in Russia, I visited like many hotels, and when I left the country, I didn't have the registration for every hotel I stayed in because, you know, some of their hotels just didn't bother with it at all. So the rule is that you're supposed to have this registration card for every night that you spent in Russia, but reality is different. A couple of times at the airport when I've been leaving the country, you know, I just had like, at least if you have like 2 or 3 pieces of paper at least, it's usually enough to satisfy them. Now everyone, something else you can use as a backup for with all these pieces of paper is your online booking account. So I'm using the Ostrovok app, and they can see all my bookings and the hotels that I stayed at. Hey, look everybody, there's some alcoholic homeless people here. Maybe I can do a bold and bankrupt and go and bribe them with vodka for being in my video. So everybody, what else has been going on with Tall Travels since he's been in St. Petersburg? Well, I was in, where was I? Oh, I was in the Euro Spa a couple of days ago, and I was at the buffet counter. Now, I hate the buffet counter in supermarkets in Russia because, you know, Russian people and British people have different ideas about how to queue. So yeah, everyone, as the old saying goes, you can take the Englishman out of England, but you can't take England out of the Englishman. Yeah guys, so I arrive at the buffet counter about half a second before this other local guy, but then he tries ordering something, so I push my way in front of him. So then he pushes me back and then blabbering something in Russian, and he's eyeballing me and stuff like that, so it could have been a fight. Now, as a lot of people from my country will know, you never push in front of a British person in a queue. And it doesn't matter which country that British person's in. I myself will fight to the death to protect my place in the queue. Okay, like sometimes I'll let them get away with it if they're like frail babushkas or dedushkas or cripples or something like that. So yeah guys, it just goes to show you that you can spend decades away from your own country and you think you've assimilated and you're almost like the locals, but then something like that happens and it makes you realize that subconsciously you'll always be a Brit or whatever. Alright everybody, I'm on Nevsky Prospect now, and I want to tell you a story about when I was here. I think it was last springtime with a certain celebrity slaphead. So yeah guys, he and I were walking on the other side of the street over there, and yeah, we're walking down the street minding our own business, and we hear this shouting from behind us. So we turn around and 3 girls, they're like kind of hipster girls, had lifted up their tops and were exposing their breasts. Now, I never expected to see this kind of thing in Russia. You'd more expect it in England or, you know, maybe Berlin or somewhere like that, but it just shows you how liberal St. Petersburg is. Anyway guys, we're watching these young ladies, you know, shouting something to us and exposing their breasts, and I'm not very interested, to be honest, because they're all flat-chested. So yeah, 6 breasts look like 6 fried eggs or something. But guys, the celebrity slaphead was getting very, very excited. It's quite embarrassing, to be honest. He was jumping up and down like a 16-year-old or something. So anyway, guys, I was looking at these girls thinking, is that the best you got? I see much better than that. So yeah, guys, it's probably one of the most erotic experiences of the celebrity slaphead's life. But as for me, nah, not interested. Everybody, Ford Focus style. So yeah guys, I think he was shocked that he didn't have to pay for these cheap thrills. Now don't get me wrong everybody, I love Nevsky Street, probably my favorite street in the whole world, but it's really chaotic today for some reason. I'm getting close to twatting somebody with my camera. I think I know why it's so hectic on the streets today, because it's a special day today. It's called like Svetlana or Natalia Day or something like that. And what that is, it's the last day of students' exams. So they've all finished their exams now. So they're out and about and having fun. Okay everybody, so that's it for this video, but stay tuned because the next one's coming very, very soon. Bye bye.